evening, everyone. I'm Fernando Rivera for Fox News, delivering to you the news fair and balanced, just as always. Our top story tonight, man drowns while attempting to rescue his pet goldfish. Holy sh**! Breaking news! An oil well beneath the waters of the Gulf of Mexico has been profusely leaking. Since late April? We just now got this? Ugh. Anyway, the wellhead was damaged following an explosion that destroyed the drilling rig, the Deepwater Horizon. The explosion reportedly killed 11 drill workers and was caused by a burst of high-pressure methane gas. We now go to John Mashlin, reporting live from Illinois, who has just landed a story with scientist Alfred Hayes Smith. The professor believes he will be able to shed some light on how exactly this happened. John? Thank you, Fernando. We're here in Rosemont, Illinois with Professor Alfred A. Smith, who's going to show us just exactly what's going on with this BP oil spill. Good afternoon, Professor. So, what exactly are we going to see here today?
Well, for those who are out of the loop, I'm going to be demonstrating a reenactment of the Gulf of Mexico oil spill. We have here the United States, a very descriptive map. But for this experiment, I would recommend that you put on some protective eye gear.
Yes, of course.
Very important. I don't want anything to go wrong here. Very volatile equipment. Here I have oil. This will be representing the oil. So here we go. As you see it, it starts to expand a little bit.
Professor, how exactly does this affect the economy?
The what?
Our own Ken Reitman met earlier today with renowned economist Richard Normus to discuss the economic effects of the oil spill.
Evening, Richard. It's good to have you here tonight. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for having me here tonight, Kent. You can call me Dick.
I will. I have a few questions I thought that you could shine some light on about the economy and the oil spill. Number one, how much of the United States GDP does the fishing in the Gulf produce?
Well, Kent, the fishing in the Gulf Coast actually accounts for $1 billion in the national GDP. Combined with this, tourism in the Gulf Coast accounts for $13 billion in the national GDP and $11 billion in oil.
Oh, very interesting. Another question we had was, how important is the Gulf for offshore drilling?
Well, offshore drilling in the Gulf of Mexico is being sternly questioned right now. This could be one of the last stands for offshore drilling in the United States. And to make matters worse, the cleanup of the spill will likely take decades to even come close to completion. The money for this will have to be taken from somewhere other than EP too, because as of now the company is spending an average of $7 million per day attempting to stop the leak and continue with cleanup.
It's very interesting. One question I was thinking of is, what are the repercussions to the company that is responsible for the oil spill?
Well, Kent, according to the Oil Pollution Act of 1990, a $75 million cap is placed, which limits the amount of money to be spent by a company that has caused an oil spill. Since the Gulf spill, however, many U.S. senators have tried to pass a bill raising this cap to $10 billion. The BP would be forced to pay up to $9.25 billion more because of this. And Kenneth Baer, the communications director for the Office of Management and Budget, embraced this proposal by stating, "We support the effort to raise this cap."
Now, his last name was Bear. Is he related to Yogi Bear by any chance? Because I really like that guy.
No.
I understand the park rangers don't like him, but he is a nice guy. What do you think of that?
I've never seen.
Oh,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, I got on a bit of a tangent there. Let's continue, shall we? What has President Obama done in reaction to the catastrophic event?
Well, the president has actually met with the cabinet and other officials dealing with the massive spill in the Gulf of Mexico. The president says it is clear there will be substantial ongoing economic effects from the spill. The president spoke after a meeting with the cabinet and other officials directly involved in the response to the worst environmental disaster in U.S. history.
Oh, I see. The worst, you say?
Yes, it is the worst.
What about when I found out Santa Claus didn't exist? That was pretty bad. That was catastrophic. My life. Was that worse, you think?
That has nothing to do with the United States.
Oh.
Or the economy.
Oh. Well, if Santa still existed, we could cut off his massive beard, and we could finish cleaning up all the oil by soaking it up like a sponge.
Well, they are actually taking hair from dogs and cats, and humans, actually, to use on the oil. So that is actually a valid argument.
Is it? I don't think so.
Santa Claus does not exist, however. May we please continue with this interview?
I'm sorry. Let's try and finish up one more question, if you will. What will be the long-term economic outcome of this situation?
Well, as I stated before, this is the worst environmental disaster in United States history. If containment efforts are successful, and it will take several decades before they are actually successful, Americans should be prepared for a long, substantial economic impact. It may take some time, and it's going to take a whole lot of effort, and there's going to be damage done to the Gulf Coast, and there's going to be economic damage that we have got to make sure BP is responsible for and compensates people for.
Will the compensation, that will come in what form? Will they give them cars because it's a BP? You know, they have
It's British
car connections.
That stands for British Petroleum.
Yeah, they have car connections because they make gas for cars and stuff.
But they don't make cars.
I think I could argue about that because Britain was the first to invent the car. Therefore, Britain.
I don't think that's true.
I think it is. I believe I'm the reporter here, and I believe I'm asking you the questions.
Are we finished here?
We interrupt to bring you an unscheduled live interview with the CEO of British Petroleum himself, Mr. Tony Hayward.
Good evening, Mr. Hayward. We are really very fortunate to have you in our studio.
I don't need the pleasantries. I just want to get a message out there right now.
All right.
The BP oil spill, it was a major accident, and we take full responsibility. And I hope that our cleanup efforts are substantial enough to keep people from just pointing fingers at us and blaming us for
Well, but it is all your fault, right? I mean, you acknowledge that.
Well, the oil was under our supervision, yes, but the methane explosion and that sort of thing, we can have control.
Okay, well, we know you caused the oil spill, so let's just move on. How are you going to fix this problem?
My company, it is responsible, but you must take into consideration that we can't control the forces of nature. It was perhaps a mistake to drill in that spot, maybe, I don't know. But however, you can't just...
Okay, sir, you need to calm down, first and foremost. I don't want to fight you, because I know I would win. America knows I would win. You've been the chief executive of BP for 3 years now.
Yes, that's
shouldn't you know what's going on with the oil?
Look, with all due respect, Mr. I don't believe...
That's not important. You don't need to... Friends haven't called each other
Right, well,
names.
you can't possibly expect me to be like God. I can't be everywhere
God is
at once.
American, for one.
I can't be everywhere at once. I can't be responsible for everything that's going on every day, every second. I can't be there to supervise. Look, I just can't be there.
Now, you are a geology major, right, Mr. Hayward?
Yes, I am.
As I understand it, geology is about the study of the earth, rocks, dirt, water, oil in water. Now, you're telling me you were unable to foresee this methane eruption?
Look, we're getting completely off subject here.
Because you're British, I don't...
The methane explosion, the oil spill, I'm just here to deliver a message to America that we're doing all we can to help the cleanup of it.
Well, let me tell you right now, all you can do does not seem to be much.
That was completely inappropriate comment. Can we just move on, please?
Yes, Your Majesty. Now, the oil spill is massive and ongoing. How long do you think it'll be before all this crap is cleaned up?
Well, with the amount of oil that has spilled and is continuing to spill, we're looking at a 10 to 15 year kind of...
Oh, what? Are you kidding me? Hello? There are people that go swimming in the Gulf of Mexico all the time. What if I had a vacation with my family?
I don't think
they would all be covered in oil right now.
Okay.
My kids have good skin.
We couldn't go there even before this happened to swim.
Look, here's an idea. Why don't we just cut off Santa Claus's beard? You know, you've heard of Santa Claus. You have Santa Claus in your country. Cut off his beard. Use it to soak up the oil. It's pretty big.
Are you seriously asking me this question? I came here to deliver a message, and I thought this was a respectable broadcast.
Well, you thought wrong, didn't you, Mr. Hayward?
I suppose so. Look, this is a very important subject. It isn't something you can just poke fun at. The oil spill is going to massively affect the nation's economy. Our own expenditures have already reached over $900 million trying to clean this up. If you combine the cost of controlling the well spillage, re-drilling, third-party liability, seepage, and pollution costs, the total exceeds $1.2 billion.
Look, we know you're sorry. Can you just do something about it already?
But we are...
Back to you, Fernando.
A panel of experts is already underway in the discussion room. Let's join them.
Well, personally, I believe that we should just let this problem go back to the source, you know? Eventually, all this oil is going to go way back over to the UK, and then the BP can just deal with it themselves. It's their problem.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello.
So where were we?
I was just talking about how we should just wait for the oil to go back to the UK.
It's their problem, so...
That is true. That would serve a little bit of justice to them, too.
It would.
What if we reduce the high pressure out of the pipeline?
It seems like a very basic idea. Like, wouldn't that have been the first thing they would have tried?
It does sound like it would work, but I don't know how you would do that.
If you just went straight down the pipeline and drilled other holes to relieve the pressure.
But wouldn't the
that
oil
make
come through to the other
wouldn't more
holes?
oil come out then?
You would have smaller containment. So you would just re-rig
That doesn't make
down the
sense.
pipeline.
It would be an economical solution. However, it would be creating more problems that we'd have to deal with.
Well, what kind of problem would it create?
Creating more holes, we'd have to deal with more holes than just the one.
But they would already be rigged and under control.
But
Why
can
don't-
you say that with
Why don't we
certainty?
just send a bunch of boats, like a bunch of super
Super
tankers?
tanks.
Yeah. No.
Tanks?
Tanks.
Amphibious? Assault
Amphibious
vehicles?
or something.
No.
Some sort of boat tanker.
I'm not smart enough to know these terms, but whatever you're talking about,
Right.
some boats, put them out there, get all the oil out of the water. It sounds good to me.
That sounds good to me too. I just don't know how much that would cost to keep all those things running.
It would probably be pretty expensive, considering the tankers might not be able to hold a large amount of oil. So in
It wouldn't
the
be
long
very
run, it would not
productive.
be productive.
No. Well, you know what? I've been hearing this stuff about the pantyhose bags with hair they're doing. I think we should just focus our attention on this.
What they're doing is they're shaving lambs and human hair and
Yeah.
other sorts of animals that have hair, and they're
I
stuffing them
believe
inside.
you talked about this in the
Yes,
interview.
my interview with Kent. It would actually be a very economical solution because it would create jobs. It would actually stimulate the economy somewhat.
Barbers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Barbers.
I heard an idea last night about having some sandbags to blockade the oil.
I don't know. That would create jobs, but I only think it would slow down.
It only
Things.
slow the
It
fuel.
would. It would stop the
It
problem.
would not stop.
I think the oil would go through sand.
Not very effective at all.
Well, it would also create jobs, much like the pantyhose.
People have
Maybe-
to make sandbags.
Maybe that in combination with another solution.
Well, there has been a few people that have said to detonate underwater nuclear warheads.
Now, to me, that sounds like a good idea. I don't really see any flaw with that.
Well, there are the animals, the fishing.
You would kill a heck of a lot of fish, sir.
Not only that, but the long term. Why don't we just
Everybody eats fish.
Why don't we detonate nukes for to solve everything?
We could just nuke the UK. It's their problem. If we blew up the UK, we could just put all the oil in the hole where the UK once was.
Well, that could seriously disrupt some currents, though.
Huh.
I hate Austin Powers.
Also destroy our relations with the rest of the world.
We don't need them, though.
America is the world.
I agree.
And
What if we hired hitmen from other countries to do this?
Pricey. Pricey. You can't trust other countries also.
This is true, but it would save our reputation instead of us detonating the nukes.
Similar to this idea is another one where we could just burn the oil.
That sounds good.
I understand that that could get into the atmosphere and cause much pollution.
Yeah,
the
you would have
ozone
to,
layer is already pretty screwed up.
you would have to evacuate the whole town, and just because of the sheer pollutant.
Also, I don't know if the fire would burn the oil underneath the surface of the water. Because fire can't burn in water.
This is true. It'd also probably be pretty time consuming considering the oil doesn't burn very quickly.
And it would just create more problems in the long run.
There has been thought, it's a little far-fetched, but what if we just built a gigantic tube that went from the spill directly into space?
We could like shoot it into the sun.
We could shoot it into
That
the
would
sun.
be very expensive.
Yeah, you'd have to create.
Nothing of that magnitude has been done before.
But
Exactly.
that technology could also work to help us in the future.
That is true.
There also has not been a
Waste
spill of this
reduction.
magnitude, so
There's also the problem with you could potentially have the oil hit the sun, and then it might come back in some sort of like gunpowder effect. You know?
Oh yeah, maybe if the fire went down the tube.
It's like Looney Tunes. Just comes back
And
the
then
earth blows up. I mean, that
the
would
Earth
be very
could
good because
explode.
I live on the Earth. I
That
know.
would be problematic.
I don't really
We
see.
could just live in space.
but what if we missed the sun by even a fraction of an inch? I mean, an alien species could find it and use it as an alternative energy source.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. Is it species or species? I was wondering.
I don't think it really
I
matters.
don't care.
Because the real solution is Santa Claus. I mean, all these just useless solutions. If we cut off Santa Claus's beard, that'll soak up all the oil.
Yeah,
He's
but-
been growing that for years and years.
This wouldn't be good on the economy because
He
then
does
kids
have a
would.
thick beard.
He does. This is true, but it would be a good source of hair. But if Santa doesn't have a
He'd get
beard,
really cold.
he would be very cold, and kids wouldn't get their presents because his face would be too cold.
He couldn't go through all that blistering wind.
And that would be bad for the economy. The British petroleum oil spill along the coast of the Gulf of Mexico was truly a tragedy. Never before has there been such a catastrophic environmental crisis in the entire history of the United States. Payment for damages, relief efforts, worker payments, and countless other effects will be greatly upsetting our nation's economy for some time, perhaps for decades to come. BP is currently leading the charge in attempting to correct their mistake. You too can help rescue the Gulf. For more information, go to bp.com or contact their assistance phone number at 866-448-5816. Our country will be suffering from this for a long time, but you can help make that time just a little bit shorter.